In 1962, Commander James Stockdale is sent to Stanford by the Navy. Might seem weird that the Navy would send a fighter pilot to get a degree in the humanities, but they did. Stockdale is walking the halls of Stanford's philosophy department one day, old enough to be confused for a professor and not a student, when he bumps into a man named Professor Reinholder. Reinholder having served in the Navy himself during World War II. And they get to talking, and Reinholder asks him if he's read Epictetus. Stockdale hasn't. And so he walks back to his office and he grabs this book off of his shelf. This is a translation of Epictetus's Enchiridion, translated by Thomas Wentworth Higginson, an abolitionist and Civil War veteran who actually leads the first black troops in the American Civil War. And it gives him this book, a book that changes the course of Stockdale's life. Because just a few months later, Stockdale would be shot down over North Vietnam, where he would spend something like 7 years being tortured, placed in solitary confinement, and otherwise having his freedom stolen from him. Epictetus, it turns out, is the perfect philosophy teacher for James Stockdale, because Epictetus is a slave in the Roman Empire. Epictetus loses the full use of his leg under torture from his master, just as Stockdale would lose the use of his leg under torture. Actually, as Stockdale is being shot down, parachuting down into Vietnam, he says to himself, I am leaving the world of technology and entering the world of Epictetus. One of his incredible essays in books is actually called Courage Under Fire, testing Epictetus's doctrines in a laboratory of human behavior. There in the prison camps of North Vietnam, Stockdale is having to put Epictetus's teachings into practice. This is where he ceases to study the philosophy. As Epictetus said, that we don't talk about the philosophy, we have to embody it. And this is Stockdale's chance to do that. He's one of the highest ranking prisoners in that prison camp, and he has to lead not just himself through this ordeal, but lead the hundreds of other men through it as well. Actually, I sat in this very studio. I interviewed Dave Carey, who was a POW. He tells me the story about Stockdale tapping on the wall, a reminder from Epictetus. And famously, after Vietnam, Stockdale is asked how he gets through it by the author Jim Collins. He says, I had to accept where I was unflinchingly. He had to accept the difficulty and the pain and the struggle of that situation. But he says, I told myself that if I were to survive, and he believed that he would, he said, I would turn this into something that in retrospect I would not trade. That is the essence of Epictetus's philosophy, that we don't choose our hardships, we don't choose what life has in store for us, but we choose how to respond to it. That we don't choose what we bear, but we choose how we bear it. Epictetus didn't choose to be a slave. Stockdale didn't choose to be a POW. You didn't choose to be born when and where you are to deal with what you are dealing with today, big and small. But you do choose whether you apply this philosophy in real life, right? Whether you choose to be made better for what you have experienced or not. And I think this is what Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius both share. Epictetus is made better for his ordeal. Marcus Aurelius is made better for the ordeal that he experiences, being thrust into absolute power, which very few people make it out alive from. That is the power of Epictetus's influence. That is the legacy he leaves behind him. And that's why in July, what we're doing here at Daily Stoic is a deep dive into Epictetus. All month, we're doing videos and articles and podcasts, and we're doing this course, How to Read Epictetus, and I'd love to have you join us. We're going to be doing a live Q&A, so if you sign up before July 26th, we're going to have a big discussion about Epictetus. You can meet other Stoics all over the world who are trying to learn from Epictetus at the same time. I think it's going to be awesome. I'd love to have you join us. You can sign up right now at dailystoic.com/Epictetus course. You can also get discounts on the best editions of Epictetus, which we carry in the Daily Stoic store. And it's going to be awesome.